At FoodPulse, we are dedicated to helping people reduce food waste and save money. Did you know that 40% of food produced in USA is never eaten? That's over $165 billion in wasted food discarded at the farms, warehouses, supermarkets, grocers, restaurants, dining halls, and homes. The sad reality is that wealthier societies literally have food to waste, while the poor are starving. A whopping 30 million people worldwide die of hunger each year. In fact, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where they will get their next meal, and 9.5 million senior Americans struggle to buy daily food, while 30% of the U.S. retail sector's food supply goes unconsumed. An average American family of 4 tosses over 1,100 pounds of food a year. That waste tops 133 billion pounds of wasted food every year. To make matters worse, we waste millions of gallons of water on food that nobody will ever consume. An incredible 25% of the water we use is wasted on producing food that will ultimately end up in a landfill or compost heap. When food is disposed in a landfill, it rots and becomes a significant source of methane, a potent greenhouse gas with 21 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide. The situation at home isn't any better. The average American family of 4 tosses over 1,100 pounds of food each year. That's up to 25% of all food purchased, and the cost is tremendous, adding up to as much as $2,500 annually. Waste happens in many ways, from cooking too much food or serving large portions which get wasted, buying food in bulk but using only a fraction of the food before it gets spoiled. 10% of the U.S. food supply is wasted at the retail level. That includes grocery stores, markets, and warehouses. In fact, many shops discard slightly blemished foods or foods with damaged packaging simply because they don't look attractive on store shelves. In the United States, 31%, or 133 billion pounds, of the 430 billion pounds of the available food supply at the retail and consumer level goes uneaten. Food waste accounts for 1/4 of the trash in landfills and garbage dumps. Food waste is the single largest source of waste in municipal landfills. An incredible 35 million tons of food were thrown away each year. Reducing food losses by just 15% would be enough food to feed more than 25 million Americans every year. In developed countries across the globe, it's estimated that 12% of food losses happens during the harvest. As much as 10% of perfectly delicious farm produce goes unpicked due to irregular shape, size, and color. Getting food from the farm to our fork eats up 10% of the total U.S. energy budget, uses 50% of U.S. land, and swallows 80% of all fresh water consumed in the United States. The warehouse food waste ends up in the landfill, where tons of expired and imperfect food is left to decompose. Trucking companies also contribute to the problem, as they discard tons of produce due to damage or changes in demand. In the United States and the United Kingdom, food scraps constitute around 20% of the waste dumped in landfills. The situation is even worse in developing countries, where food is needed even more urgently. There's a lack of secure warehousing and refrigerated storage in these nations. There is also the dilemma of rodents and pests. This leads to millions of tons of grain, produce, meat, poultry, dairy, going to waste in regions where people are sick and dying due to poor nutrition and food supply. In the U.S., fast food restaurants discard about 10% of the food they make. Full-service restaurants discard a bit less, about 4%. But the American tradition of supersizing dishes only exacerbates the problem. A single restaurant can produce over 150,000 pounds of garbage in just 1 year. In all, about 15% of the food in the U.S. landfills originates from restaurants and dining halls. Schools, colleges, and universities are the site of even more waste. Students discard about 20% of the food on campus each day. An average college student wastes 142 pounds of food each year. And studies show that girls tend to be more wasteful than males, while younger children tend to waste more food than older children. Plate waste varies dramatically according to food type. The most commonly wasted items? Salads, vegetables, and fruit. It's a fact that many families have fruit trees and vegetable gardens. But very few people actually pick the produce in time, leaving them to spoil and thrown away as trash. In reality, these foods could be easily sold, exchanged, or donated to someone in need. Plan your meals. Ensure you purchase exactly what you need and nothing more. Always make a shopping list and stick to it. Don't buy items on a whim, as these foods are more apt to be discarded. Store your food items properly to avoid spoilage and note expiry dates using alerts. Cook only what you will consume. If you have any excess, freeze the portions for later use. Store your leftovers properly, or consider sharing them with friends or neighbors. Get creative with your leftovers by adding them to new foods like soups, salads, or sandwiches. Food waste is a very real problem, but now there is a solution, and it's called FoodPulse. This one-of-a-kind app helps you find the best local deals on a daily basis for the food items you routinely buy at your local supermarkets, farmers markets, and restaurants. It also shows where free food is available for needy people. This app provides a real-time information exchange for supermarkets, grocers, and farms to donate food to food banks. It also encourages individuals to donate, sell, or exchange homegrown produce. FoodPulse helps you manage your shared shopping list with ease, with a goal to helping you save money and reducing food waste at home with a pantry list. So start saving money and reducing food waste with the FoodPulse app. It is now available for iOS and Android devices. Get the FoodPulse app today in the App Store and on Google Play. Or learn more at www.foodpulse.net. Email thefoodpulse@gmail.com.